Hello, and welcome back to You've Been Schooled. Today I am joined by Matthew Phillips. Matthew, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Aidan?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Good.
So today we're going to be talking about a little USC football. USC has a big matchup with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in South Bend this weekend, and we're going to break it down for you. So Matthew, can you give me your first key to the game?
So for USC, going into this game, my big key for the game, it has to be going easy on Kedon Slovis to start the game. You have to ease him into it. If USC puts this game in his hands, they've already lost. They're going to have a bad time. I mean, this is a freshman quarterback coming off an injury in his second road game ever at Notre Dame of all places. And if we put that kind of pressure on him to throw 40 times a game, especially right off the bat, he's throwing 25 passes in the first half. Notre Dame's going to sniff that out right off the bat, especially a team that's second in the nation in turnovers. So I think a big thing for them is they're going to have to just give Kedon Slovis some time to work.
Yeah, I think my number one key is going to be holding your own up front. Obviously, that has been a problem for USC in the previous years, the defensive and offensive line being able to hold up. But I think that with some of the talent they have up front now, the offensive line has been playing a little bit better, at least in the passing game. That's going to be more possible. However, 97th in the country in rushing yards and 80th in yards per attempt for USC this year. I think that's going to be really big for them to improve so that they can get some sort of rushing attack against Notre Dame this coming weekend.
Absolutely. I think that especially transitions into probably my second key for the game, which is we have to set the run. I mean, you got a three-headed monster running back in Malapei, Carr, and Stepp, and if those guys go underutilized in this game, if we depend on Kedon Slovis again to carry this team, we're not going to be able to get any progress on the ground. If Graham Harrell goes straight into the air raid offense and doesn't set the tone, Notre Dame is a very smart defense. They're going to take advantage of that right away. You have to set the run, set the tone. I think USC needs to have dominate the time possession, keep the ball away from Ian Book, and I think that starts with setting the run, truly.
Yeah, definitely. I think something that will also help in that regard in trying to keep the ball out of Ian Book's hands is avoiding mistakes, making sure that USC doesn't make the same type of mistakes that it has in previous games. 6 interceptions and their 2 losses between the quarterbacks. Kedon Slovis will be back playing again this weekend, as you said, but in his one road game, he had 3 interceptions. So that, along with fumbles and other types of mistakes, you really can't afford to do that on the road against a team of Notre Dame's caliber in a place that is as tough as South Bend to play in, because one mistake is all that crowd really needs. Even if USC is playing a really good game and is playing disciplined for the most part and is attacking the Fighting Irish in the ways that they should, just one mistake is all it takes for that crowd to really just flood this USC team. And we've seen in the past they really struggle when the momentum starts to go against them.
All right. And a big thing with that is going to be containing Ian Book. I mean, he's by far one of the top quarterback prospects in the country. I think he's proved himself at this point. Notre Dame's had a little bit of a round robin of quarterbacks the last few years, but Book, I mean, he's definitely one of the top quarterback talents in the country. I mean, he barely looked phased against a very tough Georgia defense. He went into Stanford Stadium and just dominated in a way that, they didn't pull out the victory, but no quarterback goes into Stanford Stadium against Kirby Smart's defense and expects a good game. Ian Book looked professional. He looked poised. He looked strong. He looked like a leader. And that's going to be a big challenge for our defense going forward. That starts with getting to him, rushing the quarterback, making sure our defense puts that pressure on him right off the bat. And that will continue throughout the game, make him insecure.
Yeah, I think that's super important. I would also say, on that kind of topic, USC needs to throw the kitchen sink at Notre Dame in this game. They can't hold anything back. Graham Harrell has a whole bye week to prepare for this. They can't just go conservative like they have at times against Washington and BYU. That's when Graham Harrell's play calling has gotten a little bit conservative maybe at times, or a little predictable perhaps. I think it's very important for him to get creative in this game. Don't just run the simple air raid concepts that have been successful to this point, but have also led to some of the failures in terms of predictability. I want to see some trick plays. I want to see some misdirection. I want to see them really pull out all the stops for this game, because that's what you do when you're an underdog on the road, right? USC doesn't want to be an underdog, but winning this game is what goes towards that. And when you have less talent, and when you have not been playing as well, when you're the underdog in a road game, trick plays and misdirection and really getting creative. That's how a lot of teams win on the road in these type of situations. What do you think about that?
Absolutely, and especially it is playing Notre Dame on the road. I mean, this is one of the toughest places to play in the country. That crowd is going to be loud. It's going to be in Slovis's head. It's probably the biggest crowd he's ever played in his life, and bring that forward is a great thing.
Yeah, I think on that sort of topic, like you said, taking it easy on Slovis, maybe giving him some of those simple reads that Graham Harrell has put him in position for in the air raid offense, but also letting him attack, let him get some some good matchups down the field in some sort of creative trickery types of plays. Let him get some confidence by making some big plays down the field. I think that'll be crucial, because you can't handhold him in this game. You can't just try to guide him along the way. You need to let him try to go out and make plays.
Absolutely not.
So Matthew, let's talk about some key players now. Who is your player to watch from the Fighting Irish side?
So I've already talked to him in this discussion, but I mean, their entire offense and that entire team starts with Book. He's the unquestioned leader of this football team. He is a legitimate NFL quarterback prospect. He is the big man on campus. And, I mean, after seeing the kind of performances he's had against some top-ranked defenses in the country, seeing how he's been able to keep his poise, how he's been able to keep his team motivated to fight even when they've been down, this is a guy that we definitely need to be scared of, as if you're USC. And, it all starts with containing him, again, as one of the keys to the game. But that is the guy that you need to look for if you're USC's defense. What about you? What about on the Fighting Irish are you looking at?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the defense for this one. I'm looking at edge defender Julian Aquara. He's a legitimate first-round prospect for Notre Dame coming off the edge there. Super bendy, super athletic, all the types of traits that you look for from an NFL edge rusher. He can rush the passer. He's strong. He can stop in the run game. He can do pretty much all of it, except he's pretty inconsistent. That comes with being able to win with your athleticism and maybe not developing the greatest technique or needing to always give your all. So that's where I think some of the inconsistency comes into play. However, that just gets rid of the excuses for USC. The Trojans recruit on the offensive line for athleticism, so it shouldn't really be a problem for them to handle this guy. That being said, he could be a wrecker off the edge, and he could really give Slovis problems on Saturday.
Who's your top Trojan to look out for this weekend?
My top Trojan is definitely Tyler Vaughns. Now, that might be a surprise to some of you out there, but hear me out. He is, by most metrics, I think, by most people's opinion, too, the third wide receiver on this stacked receiver core for USC. And he has a talent to be so much more than that. He had 120 yards on 12 receptions and a touchdown against Notre Dame last year. And if they treat him like a third wide receiver, he needs to be able to come through. He needs to win early and often and give Slovis some opportunities to attack the Irish downfield. How about you?
So I'm actually going to go on the defense on this side. I'm looking at defensive end Drake Jackson. Jackson's leading the team in sacks right now. He has 3 on the year, but for USC to win this game on Saturday, he has to definitely at least contribute at least 1, probably 2. You have to, especially early on. He's going to be sort of leading this charge against Ian Book, and he's going to be sort of the catalyst for being able to contain him, putting the pressure on him early on, getting those hits on him, making him insecure, making him think twice when he's in the pocket. That's going to be the key to this game for USC's going forward.
Yeah, he had a massive forced safety against Utah, so he definitely knows how to come up big in big moments. So now, Matthew, I asked you, what is your score prediction for this game?
I'm going, I hate to be cynical, but I'm going to have to go with 33 Notre Dame, USC 27.
I'm going to be maybe even a little more cynical than you. I think this is a 2-possession or a 2-touchdown game. I'm going to go Notre Dame 34, USC 20. South Bend is just such a tough place to play. And it's a young team for USC. I don't know how they're going to handle it.
Right.
Well, that's all we have on You've Been Schooled today. Matthew, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for inviting me.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.